I never believed a place could hold on to people, or remember them. At least, not until I found something hidden beneath an abandoned church. 3 years have passed, and I still think about that day more often than I'd like to admit. People always ask why I never tell them where the church was. The truth is, I don't want anyone else to find it. Some places don't need visitors. Some places should stay forgotten. It all started on what should have been an ordinary weekend trip. Back then, I worked as a freelance photographer. Whenever I had free time, I'd drive around looking for abandoned places to explore. Most of them were exactly what you'd expect. Empty buildings, broken windows, dust, nothing more. One Saturday afternoon, I came across a tiny village that barely appeared on any map. Just beyond the last house, I saw it. An old stone church sitting alone at the edge of the forest. Its front doors were already hanging open. It almost looked like it had been waiting for someone to walk in. Without thinking too much about it, I grabbed my camera. The moment I stepped inside, something felt different. I saw an old stone church and waiting. The inside was colder than I expected. Not freezing, just strangely cold. The kind of chill that makes you notice your own breathing. Broken wooden pews were scattered across the floor. Pieces of stained glass covered the stone like colorful ice. The air smelled damp. There was another smell too. Something metallic. I couldn't place it. I spent almost an hour taking photographs. Everything seemed abandoned. Everything except one small detail. Behind the altar, part of the wooden floor looked newer than the rest. It didn't belong there. Curiosity has a way of making small decisions feel harmless. I walked over to take a closer look. The boards shifted under my foot. That caught my attention immediately. I knelt down and pulled at one loose plank. It lifted far more easily than I expected. Underneath, there was a narrow stone staircase leading underground. A rush of cold air drifted upward. It wasn't strong, just enough to make me stop for a second. Looking back now, that probably should have been enough to convince me to leave. Instead, I turned on my flashlight and started walking down. The deeper I went, the quieter everything became. The staircase wasn't very long, but every step made the world above feel farther away. When I reached the bottom, my flashlight revealed a small stone chamber. It was cleaner than the church upstairs. No cobwebs, no broken furniture, no signs of decay. Only silence. Right in the middle of the room stood a perfectly smooth altar carved from black stone. Around it, dozens of melted candles. Some looked old. Others looked surprisingly recent. That was the first moment I wondered if someone else still came down there. I suddenly didn't feel alone anymore. Then, I noticed something carved into the altar itself. A black stone. And I didn't feel alone. At first, I thought the markings were scratches. But when I moved closer, I realized they were names. Hundreds of them. Each one carved by a different hand. Different styles, different dates. Some looked decades old. Others seemed much newer. I raised my camera and started taking photographs. The more names I read, the stranger the room began to feel. And that feeling was only the beginning. Just as I lowered my camera, I heard something that made every hair on my arm stand up. I had just lowered my camera when I heard it. The sound came from somewhere above me. It wasn't loud. It was calm, measured, like someone knew exactly where I was. I waited, listening. Maybe it was the old building settling. Maybe an animal had wandered inside. That's what I kept telling myself. But deep down, I already knew those explanations didn't fit. The silence that followed somehow felt even worse. I couldn't ignore it anymore, so I started back toward the staircase. I climbed slowly, one step at a time. The flashlight beam reached the church floor before I did. When I looked inside, there was no one. The broken pews were exactly where I'd left them. The front doors hadn't moved. Even the trees outside looked strangely still. No wind, no birds, nothing. I stood there for several seconds, waiting for another sound. It never came. The silence felt almost deliberate, like the building was watching and waiting for me to make the next move. I decided it was time to leave. Then, everything changed. I went back downstairs to collect my camera bag. As I walked past the altar, something caught my eye. I stopped, looked closer, and my stomach dropped. There was another name carved into the stone. One I was certain hadn't been there before. It was mine. I stared at it for what felt like forever. Maybe I'd missed it earlier. Maybe I was just tired. I tried every reasonable explanation I could think of. None of them made sense. I didn't stop to investigate any further. I just wanted to get out. I packed my things faster than I'd ever packed them before. Within minutes, I was outside. The cool evening air should have made me feel better. Instead, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was standing behind me. When I reached my car, I looked back. There was a person standing perfectly still inside the church doorway, too far away to recognize. They didn't wave. They didn't move. They simply stood there, watching. Watching perfectly still. Instinct took over. I raised my camera. I lifted the camera, focused on the doorway, pressed the shutter. The sound echoed across the empty churchyard. When I lowered the camera, the doorway was empty. No footsteps, no movement, nothing. It wasn't like someone had walked away. It was as if they had never been there at all. I got into my car immediately. For the first time that day, I didn't care about getting one last photograph. I just wanted to leave. I thought leaving the church meant leaving the experience behind. I was wrong. That night, I copied the photos onto my computer. At first, everything looked normal. Then I noticed something strange. The candles around the altar weren't in the same places anymore. I opened another photograph. Different again. The names had changed too. Some appeared, others disappeared. The final image made my blood run cold. It showed the altar from directly above. Standing beside it was me, facing the camera. The problem was, I had been the one holding it. I deleted the photograph immediately, but that wasn't the end of it. I didn't think. I just deleted the photograph. And then I shut the computer down and tried to convince myself I'd imagined the whole thing. The next morning, I opened the folder again. It was empty. Every photo from the church. Gone. Not hidden, not corrupted, just gone. I searched my hard drive, my backup drives, even the camera's memory card. Nothing. It was as if I'd never taken a single picture. For the first time, I stopped looking for a logical explanation. I told myself the best thing to do was move on. Over the next few weeks, I searched everywhere. Old maps, travel forums, archived satellite images, local history websites. I even drove back to the area where I thought I'd found the village. The road was still there. The forest was still there. But the church wasn't. No ruins, no foundation, not even a clearing. It was as though the entire place had simply disappeared. Eventually, I stopped searching. Not because I'd found answers, because I realized I never would. Months passed, and life slowly felt normal again. Or at least, I thought it did. A few months later, I moved into a new apartment. While unpacking my camera gear, something small slid out of one of my bags. It landed on the floor with a soft click. A memory card. I stared at it for a moment. I didn't remember putting it there. I was almost certain it was empty. Still, curiosity got the better of me. I walked over to my computer and inserted it. There was only one file. When I opened the image, I felt that same cold feeling all over again. There was only one file. On the very same memory card, it was the underground chamber. The black altar stood exactly where I remembered. But this time, all the names were gone. Only one thing had been carved into the stone. Tomorrow's date. Nothing else. Just below it, there was an empty space. A space that looked unfinished, like it had been left there, waiting for another name. I couldn't stop staring at it. I didn't keep the memory card for very long. I snapped the memory card in half, dropped the pieces into a small metal container. Then, I burned them. I watched until there was nothing left. For a while, I actually felt relieved. Like I'd finally broken whatever connection existed between me and that place. I slept better that night. I thought it was over. I couldn't have been more wrong. After sleeping peacefully for a week or two, I thought it was over. Now, every once in a while, usually just before I fall asleep, I hear it again. 3 slow knocks. Always in the same rhythm. Always somewhere inside the house. I've searched every room, every door, every window. I've never found anything. These days, when I hear the knocking, I don't answer it. I don't go looking for it. I I simply wait until the silence comes back. And every single time, I wonder if somewhere, that empty space on the black altar is still waiting for my name. Stand in a near whisper with a lingering, reflective silence.